Welcome to the New York Professional Spotlight. Host Roman Kirzhner sits down with successful professionals from across New York to uncover the stories, strategies, and expertise behind their achievements.
Hello, everyone. Today's our guest, Thomas Martin. He's a highly professional financial advisor. And we welcome you, Thomas, on our show. And the questions, we will be discussing your strategies, lessons, experience, and what helps you to have success in your career. The first question will be, can you give us a quick snapshot of what you do and what sort of business, what type of business you're doing?
Sure thing. And thank you. I am so happy to be here. So I've been a financial advisor for 12 years. I own Martin Strategic Wealth. We're a boutique financial planning and wealth management firm. We serve business owners around business exit planning, which is kind of helping them figure out what they need to sell their businesses for, and then going out, get valuations and trying to improve that number of them selling their business. And in order to help them reach their retirement goals. We also work with executives around their equity-based compensation. And I work with a lot of engineers at like Lockheed Martin and Eversource, and helping them, get the confidence that they need so that they can plan for a smooth retirement.
Yeah, great. Financial literacy education is key component for all of us. It should be for all of us. And there's many talented professionals in your field, in financial field. And what sets you apart from other people? What comes to you relatively simpler than others find challenging?
Yes. Yeah, there are a lot of different financial advisors out there. I'm friends with a lot of them. So what really kind of sets us apart? Okay, well, it's a good question, and financial advisors need to be able to differentiate themselves, right, and articulate their value proposition, and in order to get potential clients, right? So this isn't a new thing for advisors to kind of answer. So most of our new clients that we work with at Martin Strategic Wealth, they already have competent advisors, financial advisors, CPAs, estate planning attorneys, all of them who help them achieve some level of planning. So the question then becomes, if we're taking on new clients and they already have competent advisors, well, why would they hire us? Well, the answer to that is really coordination, or more specifically, the lack of coordination in their existing plan and the desire to take that planning to the next level. So like I said, most of our clients already have competent advisors out there, but they're all working in their independent silos, right? So you have a financial advisor out there, maybe they're managing your investments, maybe they're doing insurance. A few of them are even doing some financial plans out there. You have CPAs out there who are really so burdened and busy that all they typically do for a lot of clients is just prepare and file tax returns. It's a lot of work for them. And unless you're their top client, they really don't have that kind of extra time to give you forward-looking advice. As an example, I can't remember the last time my CPA had offered any kind of forward-looking advice that helped me save on tax returns there. And then you have a lot of people will have another advisor, their estate planning attorney, who's drafting or updating their wills, their trusts, their power of attorneys, and all those documents out there. But they're also working in their own silo, and who's reviewing those documents that they draft, right? So you end up having a client that ends up signing this document that's full of legalese and not really kind of understanding and just taking the word of their attorney that it says what they say it says. And when we do document reviews, we find out that's not often the case. And so, it's important to kind of get those documents reviewed. So what ends up happening is that the client becomes the middle person between all their advisors, their financial advisor, their CPA, their attorney, if they have a business, maybe even a business coach out there, and they become the middle person. No one's speaking to one another. There's not any kind of leadership that's forming there. So what sets us apart and why clients hire us is, well, coordination, or more specifically, like I said, the lack of coordination in there. So our competition doesn't really go to the level of detail like we do, where we have those tax returns reviewed and have us sit down with our clients to tell them what's in their tax returns. I happen to prepare taxes as well. I have my own tax practice, so it's a little easier for me. But it's just people should know what's in their tax returns because I find errors in them all the time. And then we also have our advanced planning team who will review our clients' trusts, their power of attorneys, their wills and stuff, and tell us what they say so that we can sit down with the client and see if that's in alignment with their goals, right? So those are some of the things that kind of set us apart, is that we do this comprehensive planning. A lot of people say they do comprehensive planning, but we really kind of embody it. We don't just do the investments. We're providing leadership for the taxes, the estate planning, the insurance, the risk management side of things, even if we're not managing those policies.
Pretty much your client base can be everyone, because coordination in today's world is critical, because you can get any information from any source, but it doesn't mean that you will execute it, and you don't know, you can get lost in all that information.
That is so true. I can't tell you how many times we've had a client come to us with estate documents that an attorney drafted for them like a year or two ago, and they never signed those documents. They never executed them because they didn't have that confidence in what they said.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely. People have no idea about taxes to begin with, but they always looking for pay less. Yeah. Another question: if someone in your field, in financial advisor field, if they want to become better at what you do, what kind of advice would you give them, the people who can start it?
yeah. So, like I said, I've been a financial advisor for 12 years now, and I've been in my own independent practices. I've joined wealth management firms out there to gain more experience and better serving my clients. And there's a lot of different types of advisors in different stages out there, but I would say that the majority of them probably just manage investments. And if you're just managing investments in today's world, you have been commoditized because clients can simply manage their own investments. So I would say you need to diverse your background a little bit, offer some specializations, play in the sandbox where other advisors don't play, like what I do around taxes and estate planning and more complex planning topics, and try to offer the most value to your typical client, your ideal client, and really kind of niche down and figure out who that client is that you're serving. You can't serve everyone effectively. Which is why I specialize into engineers at Lockheed Martin and Eversource. So that's what I would say. Get out of the investments, try to specialize, get some more certifications in other areas.
Yeah, this is kind of very true, because your business is very specific. It's a communication based, it's a people based business, and obviously you have challenges. Can you share any of the biggest challenges that you can share in your career?
Yeah.
And you want to learn from them.
Yeah, there's a lot of challenges in this field. Not only do clients have competing financial goals, as advisors, we have competing goals as well. So one of my biggest challenges was really kind of adding that expertise and diversifying my brain trust knowledge for my clients. I had to make some very difficult decisions. I had a practice at one point, and I ended up closing that practice to join another firm to be able to get the advanced knowledges that I really couldn't develop on my own. It's not every day that a typical financial advisor can land a 10, 20, or $50 million client and be able to effectively service those clients or know what they're looking for from their advisor. So for me, investing in my education probably was, a positive investment, but it did come at a cost, and I did have to restart at times with that. Another challenge would probably be to define that niche. A niche isn't like, I want to serve retiring clients. That's not niching down. There are so many, it's so broad to say that, you'd have to do something like what I do in, specializing in retirement around engineers at Lockheed Martin and Eversource and specific companies and become the expert behind those benefits and learn how those benefits work and then start providing education on that. And again, a lot of advisors that are starting in this field have a challenge of not having enough clients, your long time short clients. That becomes a challenge. And then when you do become successful, you're short time and long clients. You have too many clients to serve. And sometimes you have to drop some clients off that aren't really serving your practice too well. They're just consuming too much of your resources. That's probably what I would say. They're pretty good challenges.
Yeah, I'm listening. I'm thinking that you mentioned that you spent a lot of time in education and you became independent to create your own business. And you obviously took like leadership lessons. And what kind of leadership lessons did you took and it takes you longest? Are you still working on it?
So what's your question?
Basically about what kind of leadership lesson took you longest to learn?
Yeah, so I think as a financial advisor, I mean, we're all geared to providing leadership. That's how you kind of gain influence with clients, is you tell them what to do and they do it, right? That's providing some sort of leadership there. But in today's world, it's just so complex out there today that advisors need to offer leadership beyond their own practice, like what I said, providing that leadership to the client so that they're no longer the middle person. You are, as the wealth manager for that client, you're reaching out to the accountant, the client's accountant, and you're having the calls. Hey, listen, this is what we're planning on doing. Get the accountant sign off on it. Don't just start doing it and start impacting their taxes, and just having that dialogue back and forth to better serve the client and add better value to the client, I think is important. And then also with the estate planning attorneys, you would imagine that attorneys are very strong and leadership orientated. They have a lot of great education out there, but they don't see things the way that wealth managers do or financial advisors do from the finance side. They're looking at a document and sometimes the document doesn't execute appropriately. And when we're dealing with things like trusts, those kind of miscommunications between the client, the advisor, the accountant, and the attorney can cause financial implications in the future to the heirs if anything happened to the clients. And that's not the time to kind of figure out there wasn't a problem. And the client heirs, the kids, the surviving spouse, they're all going to go to the advisor and say, well, why is this happening? And in reality, it's because the advisor didn't provide that leadership to the attorney because maybe they felt a little intimidated, or the accountant because they felt intimidated. So I would say, to provide leadership to clients is not just giving advice. It's providing communication, open dialogue between all the clients' advisors, and being that trusted advisor to be the connection between all of them and bring them all together and make sure that the finances are working in harmony. And if anything were ever to happen, that we have all our boxes checked, and that we're checking those boxes annually as part of like an annual review, just to make sure that we didn't miss a step or we had a to-do that ended up dropping off and we've lost sight of it.
Absolutely. You mentioned that it's all, and specifically your business, from what I understood, is based preliminary on the trust, because without trust, you cannot really do anything. But establishing trust, it takes time and efforts and expertise and experience that you have. Can you share if you have any exciting goals, any exciting product that you can share in the top level? That would be great.
Yeah, so I have an initiative right now, and anyone that's listening to this podcast can take it. So my practice, even though I'm a financial advisor, leans very heavily. I live in the area where finances, investments, the taxes, the estate planning, and your estate documents, they all kind of are all overlapping in this area. And that's kind of like where I live. So one of my initiatives right now is there are way too many people out there that just don't even have a will or a power of attorney or advanced healthcare directives. If you got hit by a bus today, it's one of, as an advisor, it's a horrible situation to be in where uh, someone in the family reaches out and says, your client died. We don't know if they want to be buried or cremated. Do you have any guidance of that? And, to say that, I honestly don't know is, I think, not a good thing. So if you don't have a will, advanced healthcare directives, powers attorneys, or anything like that, let's jump on a call. Let's talk about it. We can get those documents through estate planning tools out there, through um, um, that these tools were developed by estate planners for advisors to use. We can get you set up with a will and power attorney and documents out there. And I don't even charge for those things. I have a certain number of these things that I could do per year. And so if you need a will or anything like that, let's get it done. It takes about 20 minutes, and then you can have your plans in place. That's one of my big initiatives right now is doing that. I want to say something like 33% of people that have estate documents only have a will, and a lot of them have minor children, and there's nothing in there about guardianship of who's going to be able to take care of the kids if something happened. So it's a very important topic to me. It's something I feel passionate about. If you don't have a document, you want to get it in place, I think we could do it for you.
Absolutely, absolutely, and it is very important, and it's essential for the people. If they don't know that, they should know that. Congratulations on how things are going well in your career. And
Thank you.
Now, from what I know, now people, many successful professionals in your field, as well as your clients, doing really well financially. But as you mentioned, if the worries comes when they stop working, the income can come down or maybe dried out. So some of them looking for another alternative sources of income outside of the job. They put money into the stock market, into crypto, into bonds, and anything else. What is your thoughts on creating income outside of work?
So I think of income a little differently than a lot of people because I'm in wealth management, and I don't do what a lot of advisors do, which is recommend just clients take withdrawals from their retirement account, because that opens them up to a sequence of return risk where if they do retire and shortly after the markets start to fluctuate, or even we experience a bear market or just a decline, that can impact future income and future wealth there, because you're drawing down on your assets a lot more aggressively in that beginning stage of retirement. You really need to be in control that first 10 years of how much you're withdrawing from your portfolio. So in order to create income, is this just from like how financial advisors can create income for themselves or anything like that?
Yeah, either way.
This applies to really anyone out there.
Right.
If you want to create reliable income from yourself, you need to have multiple buckets. Okay. So you need a cash bucket out there. Obviously, everyone knows the term emergency fund. You need 3 to 6 months worth of expenses in emergency funds. That's liquid cash. It could be in money market. It could be in a CD or something like that, but you need to be able to access that pool. Now, when you do retire, you will most likely be in a lower tax bracket in the early years of retirement. So, it makes sense to make some smart financial moves there that might require working with a financial advisor out there, maybe doing Roth conversions, maybe just exploring other options out there. So you have your cash bucket out there that's very vital. It plays a role in there. And then you have like your midterm bucket out there for maybe cash that you're going to need in 5 years, 7 years, something like that. And you want those to be in higher yield savings accounts. They're not subject to market returns in there. So if we do have a poor event in the markets, you're not looking to pull money from this bucket, right? It's just it's set up for the next 5 years so that you can go ahead and pull money from that. And then you have your equities and your bonds and stuff like that in another portfolio that's a little bit more long term. By diversifying your income pool, not just having it in one bucket, I think is important. And also, if all you have out there is just an IRA or a 401k, those are all qualified money. That's going to add income to your retirement income, because you've deferred that from your 401k into that bucket. So you've never paid income taxes on it, but you're also going to get hit with capital gains on there. So you gotta diversify your pool. So not just IRAs and 401ks, but open up a taxable brokerage account, open up a Roth account. If you make too much money for a Roth, a lot of 401ks today offer a Roth 401k so that you can make contributions there, regardless of your income. So I would just say diversify your pool. Don't put all your eggs in that one retirement basket, and don't be afraid of cash.
Yeah, great. Thank you. It's very valuable advices from the beginner. Everyone.
Listen, I know financial advisors might not like cash because they don't get paid on cash, but it's like lubrication for your account. You need it. And none of my clients pull money from their investment accounts in that first year. They all have cash.
Yeah. Great. Another, almost we coming to the end of our conversation. If someone wants to connect with you or learn from you, what's the best way for them to do that?
So you can go to my website at martinstrategicwealth.com. You could find me on LinkedIn as well. I'm very engaged on LinkedIn. My community is there. I speak to a lot of people there. I share a lot of educational stuff as well. So one of those two would be appropriate. You could find my LinkedIn profile from my website as well, or you could look me up.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Tom, for your time today. We appreciate it.
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening to the New York Professional Spotlight. If you're a successful New York professional with insights to share, visit nyprofessionalspotlight.com/guest and apply to be featured on the show.